Chapter 387. Practicing yin and yang, 4 symbols and 5 elements together. Huh? Extreme Purple Doused Lord, you're giving up just like that? Dark Hades King was somewhat surprised. Lin Fei was equally taken aback. He could tell that the Extreme Purple Doused Lord probably had some tricks up his sleeve that he hadn't used yet. However, Extreme Purple Doused Lord, with a complex expression, shook his head and said, "Dark Hades King, haven't you noticed? The ancient origin Saber King still has some tactics he hasn't revealed. Just with the ancient origin Saber King alone, he could defeat me. If this continues, if real skills are used, perhaps I might end up like Xiao Ling, being beheaded by the ancient origin Saber King." It was clear that Extreme Purple Doused Lord was aware of Lin Fei's reputation. Referring to Lin Fei not going all out, he probably meant the Saber world. Lin Fei's current reputation was indeed significant, having defeated Martial King Xiao Ling and bested the Doused Lord Shenhe. All of these were undeniable accomplishments. Word about Lin Fei's Saber world had spread among many powerful Banes. Now, without even using the Saber world, Lin Fei was able to defeat 2 of the Extreme Purple Doused Lord's magic avatars. How could the Extreme Purple Doused Lord hope to win once the Saber world was involved? So, he simply conceded. After all, this wasn't a life or death battle. Dark Hades King just needed the essence of Extreme Cold. Moreover, when Dark Hades King initially sought the essence of Extreme Cold, it was understood to be an exchange, offering treasures in return. So there wasn't any deep grudge. If it weren't for the fact that the Extreme Purple Doused Lord also needed the essence of Extreme Cold for practicing his nascent soul magic avatar, he would have traded it with Dark Hades King Lomiger. But now, even if he didn't want to give it, he had no choice. Dark Hades King had won. Here, this is the essence of Extreme Cold. Extreme Purple Doused Lord handed over the essence without hesitation. Dark Hades King eagerly grabbed it, a smile crossing his face. "Ha ha ha, thank you, Extreme Purple Doused Lord. If you ever need my assistance in the future, just let me know." Laughing heartily, Dark Hades King, together with Lin Fei, swiftly departed from the Purple Sun Immortal Sect's gate. The 2 eventually returned to the Xiao family estate. Fellow Taoist, here are the manuals of the 30 inattributed fire divine abilities. Thanks to you this time. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to obtain this Extreme Cold essence. Dark Hades King immediately handed over the remaining 30 inattributed fire divine ability manuals. If you ever need anything in the future, just let me know. I must take my leave now. Clearly, Dark Hades King couldn't wait to use the essence of Extreme Cold to cultivate his bloodline. Holding the 30 inattributed fire divine ability scriptures, Lin Fei immediately entered his secret chamber. Let's begin. Lin Fei started integrating these inattributed fire divine abilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It became clear that after merging these inattributed fire divine abilities, the cultivation progress of his Triple-E in True Fire bloodline had slowed down considerably. This was because many of the same attributed fire divine abilities were repetitive, or they had similar aspects. Having already merged similar divine abilities before meant that further merging wouldn't significantly enhance the Triple-E in True Fire bloodline. 10, 20, 25, 28. Boon. After Lin Fei integrated the 28 inattributed fire divine abilities, his body trembled. Then, the transformation of Lin Fei's Triple-E in True Fire bloodline rapidly ensued. Perfection. The 3rd bloodline of Lin Fei had finally reached completion. Swoosh. Lin Fei opened his eyes. Triple-E in True Fire bloodline has reached perfection. With 3 bloodlines perfected, it's time to cultivate the 4th one. I must choose this 4th bloodline carefully. Lin Fei murmured to himself. The 4th bloodline is of paramount importance. This represents the transition from the early stage of the Martial King to the mid-stage of the Martial King, the Tremendous Leap. Once he cultivates the 4th bloodline, Lin Fei's physical body will once again be strengthened, becoming even more formidable. Lin Fei swiftly entered the Dubhe Dao artifact. To cultivate the 4th bloodline, he needs to search for bloodline techniques within the Dubhe Dao artifact. So far, Lin Fei possesses the Supreme Saber Dao bloodline, Grandian Wind Dao bloodline, and Triple-E in True Fire bloodline, making a total of 3 bloodlines. During his encounter with the extreme purple doused lord, he realized that combining his triple Yin True Fire bloodline with his supreme Saber Dao bloodline was incredibly potent. A single saber strike, imbued with the triple Yin True Fire, is nearly impossible to extinguish once it latches onto an opponent, burning them to ashes, even down to their particles. Such synergy between the two bloodlines was astounding, and Lin Fei hadn't even used his Grandian Wen Dao bloodline yet. Now, as Lin Fei contemplates the fourth bloodline, he hopes it can complement or even enhance the first three bloodlines, further boosting his combat prowess. Gazing at the multitude of bloodline techniques, he pondered deeply. What exactly is a martial god? Rumor has it that a martial god is omnipotent and omnipresent. The same can be said for deity transformation. Anything associated with the word deity is deemed nearly omnipotent, possessing incredible abilities. However, no matter how powerful a deity is, it cannot transcend the world, it remains a creature of the universe. Lin Fei's thoughts turned to the basic elements constituting the universe, yin and yang, the four symbols, azure dragon, vermilion bird, white tiger, and black tortoise, and the five elements, metal, wood, water, fire, earth. If one could cultivate bloodlines imbued with these foundational principles, would it make ascension to godhood easier or bestow unparalleled power? He was unsure. This was just his speculation. Even the true immortal of Dubhan might not have had such insights. They generally followed a set path in their cultivation. Few had the wild imagination like Lin Fei. The key difference is Lin Fei's ability to integrate various divine abilities, underpinning his unconventional thinking. He's confident in mastering any bloodline to perfection, unlike typical martial kings who often choose common and easy-to-understand bloodlines, fearing they couldn't achieve perfection. Considering the Yin and Yang bloodlines, my current Grandian Wen Dao bloodline and triple Yin True Fire bloodline are both Yin attributes. So, I need a Yang attribute bloodline to form a Yin-Yang balance. The four symbols represent earth, fire, water, and wind, while the five elements are metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Thus, the bloodlines are lack now are the Yang, wood, water, and earth attributes. Lin Fei pondered for a moment, realizing he was lacking in four attribute bloodlines. Perhaps the Supreme Saber Dao bloodline could tentatively be considered as having a metal attribute. As for the earth in the four symbols, it's quite similar to the earth among the five elements and can be considered as one attribute. Moreover, Lin Fei didn't need to differentiate them too meticulously. If necessary, he could cultivate the metal and earth attribute bloodlines later. After all, he could cultivate up to 9 bloodlines. For now, I'll focus on the 4 bloodlines I lack. So, should I prioritize the 4 symbols, the 5 elements, or yin and yang? After some thought, Lin Fei considered cultivating the yang attribute bloodline. After all, there needs to be a balance between yin and yang. Moreover, once he possesses a yang attribute bloodline, he would have completed both yin and yang bloodlines. Consequently, Lin Fei began his search within the Dubhe Dao artifact for techniques related to the yang attribute bloodline. Chapter 388. Supreme Yang Heavenly Thunder Bloodline. Inside the Dubhe Dao artifact, there were countless bloodline techniques. However, since Lin Fei was set on cultivating a yang attribute bloodline, the first thing that came to his mind was thunder. Thunder represents the supreme yang, making it the very essence of yang attribute bloodlines. The foundation establishment cultivator must endure heavenly thunder to potentially transform into a golden core. The path of immortals even refers to this thunder as heavenly tribulation, showing just how much fear it instills in cultivators. Heavenly thunder. I wonder if there's a bloodline of thunder that's comparable or even surpasses it. Lin Fei wondered, beginning his search within the Dubhe Dao artifact for a thunder bloodline technique. Soon, Lin Fei indeed found a yang attribute thunder bloodline technique called Supreme Yang Heavenly Thunder Bloodline. Upon mastering this bloodline, one would become the embodiment of utmost yang, capable of summoning thunder with every gesture, akin to a true god of thunder. Ever since becoming a martial king, as Lin Fei cultivated different bloodlines, he felt more and more that his attacks were transcending the scope of martial arts as he knew them. Instead, he seemed more like the legendary deities who could influence the heavens with a mere gesture. Their power was earth-shattering. After all, wasn't the path of the martial king laying the foundation to become a martial god? And isn't a martial god a deity? Lin Fei made up his mind, Supreme Yang Heavenly Thunder technique. Come, merge with me and become my 4th bloodline. As Lin Fei's words faded, his existing 3 bloodlines erupted. A point of golden light immediately entered Lin Fei's body, causing him to tremble. Memories regarding the Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline emerged in his mind. Previously, whether practicing martial arts or divine abilities, Lin Fei had nothing that could relate to thunder. Therefore, this time, his original bloodlines couldn't assist him, causing the merging process with the Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline to be slow. Suddenly, Lin Fei's entire body shook, and the 4th bloodline immediately manifested. Faint thunders flickered around him. The 4th bloodline was completed. At this moment, Lin Fei progressed to the mid-stage of Martial King. Moreover, his Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline was constantly refining and enhancing his physical body. This subtle upgrade might continue for a long time. By then, Lin Fei's physique would become even more formidable. However, Lin Fei's Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline was still at the beginner stage, with the progress of cultivation only at 1%. This meant that Lin Fei's previous bloodlines and power did not enhance or support the cultivation of the Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline. Thus, he had to search for thunder-related divine abilities, specifically those of the Yun attribute. While most thunder divine abilities are of Yun attribute, they are quite rare. After all, mastering thunder, a terrifying force between heaven and earth with destructive power, is challenging, whether for immortals or martial artists. Within the Dubha Dao artifact, Lin Fei only found 11 thunder divine abilities. Among them, 2 were of the Yin attribute, which did not match Lin Fei's Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline, making them unsuitable for assimilation. Lin Fei could only integrate with 9 of these thunder divine abilities. Still, none of them triggered any significant evolution in his Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline. It remained far from perfection. Host, Lin Fei. Martial Realm, Middle Stage Martial King. Supreme Saber Dao bloodline, perfection. Grand Yin Wind Dao bloodline, perfection. Triple Yin True Fire bloodline, perfection. Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline, beginner, progress 91%. Saber World, perfection. The progress of Lin Fei's Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline remained at 91%. It seemed that each thunder divine ability contributed about 10% to his cultivation progress. Still, it was not enough to break through to mastery. Hence, Lin Fei visited the Xiao family's divine ability tower. To his disappointment, he couldn't find a single thunder divine ability within the vast collection of the Xiao family. This absence further highlighted the rarity of such techniques. It's troublesome without any thunder divine abilities. Lin Fei frowned in concern. Given that the Xiao family, a prestigious martial king lineage, hadn't collected any thunder divine abilities over many years, it was likely that other martial king families faced similar shortages. However, Lin Fei had another avenue to explore. He was a member of the Martial God Alliance. Sitting cross-legged in a secret chamber, Lin Fei activated the Martial God Alliance's token. In an instant, he found himself in the martial god space, a grand hall occupied by many strong individuals, mostly martial kings and nascent soul experts. Without hesitation, Lin Fei posted his request on the task wall, seeking Yun attribute thunder divine abilities, with no limit to the quantity. As for the reward, it would be discussed based on the quality and rarity of the divine abilities once presented. After leaving his task in the martial god space, Lin Fei exited the area. Although Lin Fei doubted that other martial king families possessed thunder-attributed divine abilities, he instructed the Xiao family, in his name, to start collecting them. Especially from other martial king families. As long as they were thunder-attributed divine abilities, everything was negotiable. Given Lin Fei's current high-standing status, his mere words could mobilize countless individuals. Hence, all he had to do was wait patiently. After waiting several days without any news, Lin Fei returned to the Ancient Origin sect. Being a martial king of the Ancient Origin sect and with only around 2 months left before the opening of the Tuyuan realm, Lin Fei realized he hadn't allocated the slots for it. He had 11 martial sovereign slots. Apart from him, the Ancient Origin sect had exactly 11 spots. It had been a while since Lin Fei had taken the time for focused cultivation. Now seemed like the perfect opportunity. Days went by until suddenly a sensation stirred within Lin Fei. In the next moment, his consciousness entered the martial god space. He had felt a disturbance in the martial god space, which caused his Martial God Alliance token to vibrate, signaling him. "Who's calling me?" Once inside, a figure appeared before him. This figure was located using the coordinates Lin Fei had left behind. In the martial god space, one needs to leave coordinates for others to contact them. This is usually done on the task wall. However, upon seeing the stranger in front of him, Lin Fei's eyebrows knitted slightly. Nascent soul cultivator. Indeed, standing before Lin Fei was not a martial king but a powerful nascent soul great bane. Although the martial god alliance primarily consisted of martial artists, it didn't exclude immortal cultivators. Hence, some nascent soul cultivators had also joined the alliance. Fellow Taoist, you've posted a task seeking a large number of Yun-attributed thunder divine abilities. Mei asked, are you trying to cultivate a thunder bloodline and hope to comprehend it through these divine abilities? The nascent soul cultivator asked, his gaze fixed intently on Lin Fei. Most were unaware of Lin Fei's ability to integrate divine abilities. The only plausible explanation was that Lin Fei intended to use these thunder-attributed divine abilities to understand the mysteries of the thunder, thus enhancing his thunder bloodline. Admittedly, this method isn't always effective. And if it is, Lin Fei wasn't about to reveal his capability to integrate divine abilities. In that case, there are actually better methods to comprehend the mysteries of thunder than merely studying thunder-attributed divine abilities. I don't have those divine abilities, but I do possess a nascent soul magic treasure that has collected a vast amount of heavenly thunder. This should be sufficient for your understanding. With that, the nascent soul great being promptly took out a magic treasure and handed it to Lin Fei. Chapter 389-389. Contract Establishment. Nascent soul magic treasure. Lin Fei took a glance. Within the martial god space, magic treasures are mere simulations and it's challenging to discern their real value. I need to see this in person. Where are you? I can come to you, Lin Fei asked. The other party seemed to have some reservations but then replied, let's meet in the martial god city. The martial god city was a neutral location, which was fair since neither party had met nor fully trusted each other. All right, I'll set off immediately, Lin Fei responded. With that, Lin Fei exited the martial god space, transforming into a beam of light, and headed toward the martial god city. Using his Grandian Wendao bloodline, his speed was astonishingly swift. Within a day, he reached the city. The nascent soul cultivator arrived on the following day. The two met in an inn within the city and entered a room specifically designed as a secret chamber. They sat facing each other. The nascent soul expert smiled and said, this is a magic treasure I refined. Not only does it store a vast amount of thunder, but it can also automatically absorb the celestial thunder, ensuring an endless supply. Lin Fei examined the magic treasure. Indeed, it was a nascent soul-level collection tool, designed exclusively for gathering thunder without any offensive or defensive capabilities. Thunder, after all, had various uses. With a thought, Lin Fei reached out, and a strand of thunder was summoned, striking him directly. To him, this minor amount of thunder was inconsequential. However, it was genuine thunder with a supreme Yun essence. Your supreme Yun heavenly thunder bloodline has absorbed a bit of thunder power, and its cultivation progress increased by 1%. A system voice echoed in Lin Fei's mind. His supreme Yun heavenly thunder bloodline had surprisingly advanced by 1%. Previously, only by integrating thunder-attributed divine abilities with the bloodline progress. Lin Fei pondered. He realized the reason. The Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline, at its core, was a cultivation technique or a martial art. No matter how mystical it seemed, it remained a martial art that cultivated a bloodline. As long as it's a martial art, it can be cultivated independently. Especially when certain specific conditions are met, rapid progress is possible. Clearly, the power of thunder is the special condition for the Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline. Once satisfied, the Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline can be enhanced. Given this, the nascent soul magic treasure that collects thunder is indeed useful to Lin Fei. He can't afford to miss out on it. What do you want in exchange? Lin Fei inquired, hinting at his interest in the magic treasure. The nascent soul cultivator smiled gently. I've invested a lot of effort into this magic treasure. I aim to further refine my nascent soul magic avatar, but I need some special materials for that. These materials can be found on a king-tier exotic beast known as the Unicorn King, specifically its singular horn. Although I know the location of the Unicorn King, I can't defeat it on my own. Hence, I'd like to invite you to assist me in slaying it. Only after ensuring the defeat of the Unicorn King can I hand over the magic treasure to you. What do you think? The other party intended to hunt a kin-tier exotic beast to enhance his nascent soul magic avatar. What's the strength level of the Unicorn King? Lin Fei queried. It's comparable to a martial king with 3 bloodlines. Moreover, its horn possesses unique abilities, making it certain aspects on par with a mid-stage martial king. Lin Fei pondered. A mid-stage martial king signifies 4 bloodlines, which means that the Unicorn King is a potent kin-tier exotic beast. Even if we join forces, are you confident about defeating the unicorn? Lin Fei further questioned. I'm not sure. Precisely because of this uncertainty, I want to give it a try. To be honest, I've invited 3 people before you. 2 Mason Soul Cultivators and 1 Martial King to defeat the Unicorn King together. But none succeeded. So, I just want to try again, the cultivator confessed. Lin Fei was at a loss for words. While the other party's honesty was commendable, it was a bit too forthcoming. What did this mean? It indicated that he had invited 3 powerful beings with the lure of the magic treasure, and none succeeded. Was he merely trying his luck? After all, finding someone interested in his magic treasure and capable of defeating the Unicorn King is a rare combination. He might be just taking a chance, trusting in his abilities to escape should the hunt go awry. With ample time on his hands, he could afford to gamble now and then, hoping that the allure of the magic treasure would eventually draw a formidable martial king or nascent soul cultivator. I agree, declared Lin Fei. Let's head to the Martial God Alliance and seal our contract. The nascent soul cultivator was overjoyed. Thus, the 2 of them got up and headed directly to the Martial God Alliance headquarters. Those in the Martial God space can form contracts at the Martial God Alliance headquarters. The contract, in reality, does not hold much binding force. The only restriction is that if anyone breaches the contract, they will be expelled from the Martial God Alliance. This isn't a strong deterrent, which is why the Martial God Alliance remains a loose association. The primary purpose of forming a contract is to reveal both parties' true identities to each other. Throughout Lin Fei's meeting with the nascent soul, neither had disclosed their identities. In fact, these identities remained confidential. But once the contract was sealed, both parties would become aware of each other's identities. In a way, knowing the other's true identity acts as a form of security. Subsequently, at the Martial God Alliance headquarters, the 2 successfully formed their contract. Likewise, they both learned of each other's identity. Hanging Void Taoist Lord. Ancient Origin Saber King. Both exchanged knowing smiles. Through the contract, Lin Fei discovered that the Hanging Void Taoist Lord was the master of Hanging Void Mountain. However, Lin Fei's reputation was undoubtedly grander. Hanging Void Taoist Lord exclaimed with some surprise, "So, it's the Ancient Origin Saber King." Ha ha ha, the one who defeated the Taoist Lord Chenna and slew Martial King Xiao Qianling with a saber. With you on board, we stand a great chance against the Unicorn King. Hanging Void Taoist Lord was genuinely overjoyed. Lin Fei had recently gained significant acclaim, especially after defeating Martial King Xiao Qianling. It's challenging to defeat a powerful figure, be it a nascent soul or a martial king. Especially, as the rumors go, the Ancient Origin Saber King, Lin Fei, had manifested the Saber World. Under the cover of the Saber World, it would be challenging for nascent souls or martial kings to escape. If one's strength was inferior to Lin Fei and they got trapped by the Saber World, they could be worn down until their defeat, regardless of being a nascent soul or a martial king. You're too kind, Taoist Lord, Lin Fei responded modestly. The Unicorn King is a kin-tier exotic beast. We'll have to see whether we can defeat it or not. All right, let's not delay any further. Let's depart immediately. Without any hesitation, the Hanging Void Taoist Lord, along with Lin Fei, left the city of martial gods, vanishing into the horizon. Chapter 390. The Awakening of the Unicorn King. In the wastelands, exotic beasts roamed everywhere. Even kin-tier exotic beasts were abundant here. The area was perilous and rarely visited by humans. It was the territory of these exotic beasts. Yet, mighty figures like martial sovereigns, martial kings, and even nascent souls occasionally ventured here. Some came to hunt exotic beasts, while others were in search of rare and precious resources. The wastelands were vast and sparsely populated by humans. As a result, the footprints of the powerful were few, and many treasures were easily found here. However, even for the likes of martial kings and powerful nascent souls, there was always a risk of falling prey to an exotic beast. At this moment, 2 golden core true persons, a male and a female, cautiously traversed the wastelands. They dared not fly, fearing the notice of the exotic beasts. Ordinary beasts posed no threat to them, but they were wary of the kin-tier ones. Deep into the wastelands, these kin-tier beasts were more frequent. These 2 golden core cultivators had ventured deep into the wastelands with a purpose. "Senior brother, are you sure we can find the heavenly thunder grass here?" the female asked. "Absolutely," he replied. "A single heavenly thunder grass, combined with other precious ingredients, can be used to concoct a heavenly thunder pill. With the aid of the heavenly thunder pill, there's a possibility to increase the success rate of transitioning from golden core to nascent soul by about 10%. But I've heard that a kin-tier exotic beast, the Unicorn King, resides here. That's why we mustn't alert the Unicorn King. If we do, we'll be in grave danger." They had come in search of the heavenly thunder grass to refine the heavenly thunder pill, which aids in the formation of the nascent soul. However, even if they succeeded in concocting the pill, it wouldn't guarantee achieving the nascent soul stage. It would merely increase the chances by roughly 10%. But for the transformation into a nascent soul, it's not just about forming it. If one hasn't accumulated enough strength and experience, the nascent soul could instantly collapse. Yet, for many golden core true persons, just forming the nascent soul was a challenge that thwarted over 90% of them. So, for them, risking their lives for a pill that could increase their chances, even if only by a bit, was worth it. Both individuals crawled on the ground, concealing their auras as they slowly approached their destination. "Senior brother, just how strong is this Unicorn King?" the female golden core true person asked. "Is it stronger than the typical kin-tier exotic beast?" "The Unicorn King can rival a mid-stage nascent soul great being," the male replied. "Most nascent souls, upon encountering it, can only think of flame. So, we must tread with utmost caution. If we are discovered, no one will be able to save us." The 2 of them had indeed mastered the art of concealing their presence. Thus far, no exotic beast had detected them. In no time, they approached the edge of the tranquil lake. Beside it, they discerned a scorched expanse, approximately 100 meters wide, where not a blade of grass grew. Curiously enough, close to the water's edge, a singular plant stood out, its entire body a stark shade of black, radiating an oddity. Yet, it did not wither. Instead, it pulsed with the very essence of life. "That's it, the thunder grass," one exclaimed. "Surviving a thunderbolt and, rather than dying, it has nurtured tremendous vitality," the other elaborated. "Moreover, it still contains traces of the thunder's power, perfect for shattering the golden core. The immense life force within could then nourish a nascent soul." Excitement overwhelmed the 2 golden core true persons. Thundergrass. They truly found it. Their arduous journey to this desolate domain was all for this singular herb. At last, their efforts bore fruit. However, they did not rush forward immediately. For looming before them was an enormous figure, an exotic beast with a solitary horn, its sheer size comparable to a small hill. The Unicorn King, a kin-class exotic beast, now dozing by the lakeside. Though it seemed deep in slumber, who could predict the consequences if they were to disturb it? "Patience," whispered one. "Let us observe a bit longer, see if the beast awakens." Thus, in stillness, they waited. Yet, as hours turned into days, the Unicorn King showed no signs of stirring. "Senior brother, I've heard some exotic beasts, once they fall asleep, could slumber for centuries. What if this Unicorn King is one of them? How long then must we wait?" The mere thought of a century-long nap tightened their hearts. Such an occurrence was not implausible. Especially considering the Unicorn King was the undisputed ruler of these parts, with no other beasts daring to trespass its domain, thereby minimizing any chances of awakening it. If only someone could lure this beast away, one of them pondered. Yet, who would dare to provoke the Unicorn King? Even nascent soul cultivators or martial kings would think twice. "We wait," the male declared resolutely. He'd rather wait for months than forsake the opportunity to acquire the thundergrass. Now, their only option was to trust in fate. At that moment, high above the wastelands, two figures darted through the sky, swiftly arriving above the lake. Saber King, below lies the Unicorn King. Approach, and it shall awaken. We cannot let it escape this time. The task may necessitate your prowess. We may have to employ the Saber World technique to trap it. The Hanging Void Taoist Lord addressed Lin Fei from the city of martial gods. We've come straight to this wasteland, all for the Unicorn King. However, I'm not entirely confident in taking it down. Lin Fei, understanding the weight of the situation, replied, "Let me give it a shot." He was well aware that the primary force to confront the Unicorn King had to be Hen. With 4 bloodlines coursing through the Unicorn King, Lin Fei felt confident, believing it was not an adversary he couldn't defeat, especially with the aid of the Saber World. "Be cautious, friend Lin," the Hanging Void Lord cautioned. "I will be here, covering your back." In an instant, Lin Fei leaped into action, soaring towards the dormant Unicorn King below. A swift sound rang out, and suddenly, the once slumbering Unicorn King's eyes snapped open, sensing an impending threat. The earth seemed to tremble as the massive beast stirred, its every movement echoing with might. The 2 Golden Core true persons had been silently waiting for days. They were perplexed as the Unicorn King, which had shown no prior signs of movement, suddenly jolted awake with such intensity. What's happening? Why has the Unicorn King awakened? Did it somehow sense us? The 2 exchanged uneasy glances, their anxiety palpable. If the beast had truly discovered them, their fates would surely be sealed. Panic gripped them, but to their relief, the awakened beast didn't charge at them. Instead, it roared at the skies. Following its gaze, they spotted a silhouette swiftly approaching, taking a position not far from the Unicorn King, seemingly undaunted by its presence. Is that a martial artist? One wondered. Must be a martial king, the other deduced. A martial king taking on the Unicorn King. The realization sparked hope in the hearts of the 2 Golden Core cultivators. Their persistent wait for an opportunity, a diversion for the Unicorn King, seemed to be presenting itself. However, they also questioned how long a single martial king could keep the beast engaged. Silently, they prayed that the martial king could endure, remembering that the Unicorn King had repelled numerous nascent soul cultivators and martial kings in past battles. "I'm unfamiliar with this martial king. Perhaps he's not well known," one mused. "Let's hope he can hold on for a while, maybe even divert the beast long enough for us to seize the thundergrass," the other whispered. The 2 Golden Core cultivators, trying to remain undetected, lay low, their eyes glued to the unfolding spectacle in the skies above. Chapter 391. Lin Fei overpowers the Unicorn King. Unicorn King? Lin Fei exclaimed, seeing the formidable beast for the first time. Even though Lin Fei had encountered kin-tier exotic beasts before, like the Azure Flood Dragon King, this was his first face-to-face encounter with one. In a surprising turn of events, the massive Unicorn King took to the air with astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, it positioned itself before Lin Fei, charging at him headfirst. For such kin-tier exotic beasts, their body is their most potent weapon, much like a martial king. Bring it on. Without hesitation, Lin Fei's inner bloodline exploded in power. Supreme Saber Dao bloodline. His true martial king form manifested in the void, making him appear as an unmatched divine saber. With a shout, he slashed down with his saber. However, a glint of light concentrated at the tip of the Unicorn King's single horn. In the next instant, a colossal beam of light shot from the Unicorn King's horn, clashing directly with Lin Fei's saber light. Lin Fei's expression changed slightly, his figure wavering as the beam surged past the spot where he had just stood. What a beast this Unicorn King is! Lin Fei acknowledged the exceptional power of his opponent. Relying solely on one bloodline wasn't going to be enough against this beast. Without further hesitation, Lin Fei invoked Tripoli and True Fire bloodline. Flames began to burn around his true martial king form, even engulfing his saber and the surrounding void. Once again, Lin Fei launched another saber strike. This one wasn't particularly swift but was executed with a force capable of toppling the heavens. Enhanced with the Supreme Saber Dao bloodline, its power was earth-shattering, and the Tripoli and True Fire accompanying it added an eerie chill. The Unicorn King retaliated with another bane, aiming directly at Lin Fei. However, in the very next moment, Lin Fei's Saber World descended. Almost instantly, Lin Fei's silhouette vanished, only to reappear right in front of the Unicorn King, delivering a swift slash. The unobstructed saber strike found its mark, cutting deep into the Unicorn King's body. The beast roared in fury and pain as Lin Fei's saber energy wreaked havoc inside it. Moreover, the triply and true fire attached to the saber blade seared through the beast's body. Yet, despite the intense onslaught of the true fire and saber energy, the resilient body of the Unicorn King resisted, proving it wasn't so easily defeated. Grandian Wendao bloodline. Lin Fei's third bloodline erupted within him. With a wave of his hand, a gust of chilling wind began to blow in the void. The powerful wind grazed the Unicorn King's body, and astonishingly, its flesh started to crumble into ashes at a pace visible to the naked eye. The wind fueled the fire, and the triply and true fire within the Unicorn King burned even more fiercely. From a distance, one could see the life force of the enormous Unicorn King rapidly diminishing. At the critical moment, the Unicorn King roared in fury. From its single horn, a burst of radiant light enveloped its entire body. Instantaneously, the Grandian wind's harm to the Unicorn King was mitigated, and the triply and true fire scene suppressed. Only Lin Fei's saber energy, amplified by the saber world, continued to ravage the Unicorn King's flesh. Yet, the beast was simultaneously regenerating. As its body was getting damaged, it was also healing. In this stalemate, Lin Fei was uncertain how long it would take to finally bring down the Unicorn King. Such a formidable Unicorn King, he thought, I've already employed the Saber World, Supreme Saber Dao Bloodline, Grandian Wendao Bloodline, and Triply and True Fire Bloodline. The combination of these three bloodlines with Saber World should rival the strength of 5 bloodlines. While I can suppress the Unicorn King, killing it is proving exceedingly challenging. A fierce glint flashed in Lin Fei's eyes. The Unicorn King's horn possessed special abilities, its offensive and defensive prowess were unmatched. Moreover, its physical resilience was daunting. To kill it would be a task most middle-phase martial kings could not accomplish. Even though Lin Fei held the upper hand in their clash, the damage he inflicted on the Unicorn King's body was minimal. He needed another strategy. Nearby, the Hanging Void Doused Lord lurked, eager to act. But since Lin Fei wanted to test his strength, he decided to harness all his capabilities. Lin Fei had one more tactic up his sleeve that he hadn't yet employed. Supreme Young Heavenly Thunder Bloodline. Lin Fei invoked his 4th bloodline. As he summoned the Supreme Young Heavenly Thunder Bloodline, the void reverberated with thunderous rumbles. Concurrently, a massive bolt of lightning struck down from the heavens. Bang! The Heavenly Thunder struck down. This was the Supreme Young Heavenly Thunder, the nemesis to almost all life forms. Even the Unicorn King, upon feeling the impact of the thunder, couldn't help but let out a wail. The bolt struck and blew away a significant part of the Unicorn King's body, obliterating almost 1/10 of it. Such an effective attack! Lin Fei exclaimed inwardly, delighted. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, dozens of heavenly thunderbolts descended, engulfing the entire area. The terrifying pressure instilled immense fear in the Unicorn King. With these bolts striking and the flames scorching its insides, it might very well meet its end. At that moment, the Unicorn King was terrified. But not only the Unicorn King. The 2 concealed golden core cultivators, who were hiding their presences, were equally frightened. They hadn't expected a martial king to be this terrifying, not only overpowering the Unicorn King but also invoking the power of the Heavenly Thunder. Now, with the thunder enveloping several miles, they too were trapped within its scope. If the thunder struck them, they could die. Run. We need to run now. Use the escape technique. Go. Without wasting a second, the 2 golden core cultivators deployed their escape technique. With a whoosh, their figures disappeared without a trace. Simultaneously, the sky full of thunderbolts struck, transforming the region into a sea of lightning. As they observed the scene from their escape, the 2 golden core cultivators turned pale. Is this the power of a martial king? How can a martial king be this powerful? It's over. Even if the thundergrass was born from thunder, it can't withstand such a barrage. We finally found the thundergrass, and now it's gone. Despite their regret, they recognized their luck. They were close to death. As for the Unicorn King, surviving such a massive barrage seemed unlikely. Soon, the thunder vanished. Lin Fei still stood in the same spot. Henning Void Taoist Lord's eyes widened, a hint of shock evident in his gaze. He knew Lin Fei was strong, but this level of power surpassed his wildest imagination. He then looked towards the Unicorn King and was immediately taken aback by what he saw. Chapter 392. Slaying the Unicorn King. At this moment, the Unicorn King was in a pitiful state. It had lost its entire body, leaving behind only a vague mass of flesh and a single horn. Left unchecked, this mass of flesh could potentially regenerate and reform. After all, many martial kings have the ability to be reborn from just a drop of blood. How could a king-level exotic beast not possess an even more formidable life force and recovery capability? However, Lin Fei grabbed the mass with his hand where the triple yin true fire resided. This fire continuously scorched the flesh to ensure it wouldn't instantly regenerate. But Lin Fei controlled the intensity of the fire so as not to turn the Unicorn King to ashes completely. Hanging Void Taoist Lord, is there anything else you need from the Unicorn King? Lin Fei asked. If not, I will end its life. The Hanging Void Taoist Lord reached out and took the unicorn horn into his grasp. Nodding, he said, please proceed, Lin. He only wanted the horn. With a resonating hum, Lin Fei's triple yin true fire flared intensely, enveloping the Unicorn King's flesh. In the blink of an eye, the entire mass was reduced to ashes. The mighty king-level exotic beast had met its end, slain single-handedly by Lin Fei. This spectacle sent a chill down the Hanging Void Taoist Lord's spine. Lin Fei's prowess surpassed his wildest expectations. Especially considering the 4 bloodlines Lin Fei had just revealed, coupled with the Saber World technique, his strength might be on par with a late-stage martial king. Friend Hanging Void, you have the horn, Lin Fei stated while looking at the Hanging Void Taoist Lord. Now, about the nascent soul magic treasure. Ha ha ha, of course, the Taoist Lord replied. I am in your debt. With that, he promptly handed the nascent soul magic treasure to Lin Fei. Witnessing Lin Fei's formidable might, he certainly didn't want to provoke him. After all, if Lin Fei could defeat the Unicorn King, he could definitely defeat the Hanging Void Taoist Lord as well. Upon receiving the nascent soul magic treasure infused with thunder, Lin Fei said, let's go. He transformed into a streak of light and swiftly left the wastelands. The 2 golden core cultivators carefully returned, exchanging glances as they surveyed the aftermath. The thunder grass. The 2 murmured in unison. Their gaze turned to where the thunder grass once stood. It was gone, reduced to ashes. The overpowering thunder that fell from the sky was too much for even the Unicorn King. The thunder grass didn't stand a chance, it was completely obliterated. It's over, without the thunder grass, everything's truly finished. Who was that martial king? How is his power so terrifying? To single-handedly slay the Unicorn King, it's beyond comprehension. The 2 of them seemed a bit dazed. They were awestruck by the prowess of the martial king and felt a deep regret that the thundergrass had turned to ash. However, they were powerless to change anything. Let's go, we'll search elsewhere, one of them suggested, feeling dejected. They could only hope to find more thundergrass in the surrounding areas. Upon returning to the ancient origin sect, Lin Fei now had the nascent soul magic treasure. It was full of immense thunder power. Finally, I can cultivate the Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline, Lin Fei thought. Entering the Dubhe Dao artifact, Lin Fei took out the magic treasure. With a swift motion, he reached out to grasp the thunder. There was a crackling sound, and a bolt of heavenly thunder was captured in his hand. Your Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline has absorbed a sliver of thunder force. Cultivation progress increased by 1%. It was just a tiny fraction. Lin Fei continued, encouraged by the constant updates from the system and his mind. It didn't take long for his Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline to break through. Your Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline cultivation progress has reached 100%. Your Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline has achieved mastery. Days turned into weeks, and nearly 2 months passed. Lin Fei was constantly cultivating the Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline within the Dubhe Dao artifact. The thunder inside the nascent soul magic treasure wasn't enough for Lin Fei's bloodline to reach perfection. Currently, it had barely reached transcendence. Lin Fei still needed to spend time gathering more heavenly thunder. While this might be a hassle for others, with Lin Fei's Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder bloodline, he could actually attract heavenly thunder, which would then be collected by the magic treasure. This thunder would further aid in his cultivation, even if it took a considerable amount of time. System, Lin Fei called out, accessing the interface. Host, Lin Fei. Martial Realm, Mid-Stage Martial King. Supreme Saber Dao Bloodline, Perfection. Grandian Wind Dao Bloodline, Perfection. Triple Yin True Fire Bloodline, Perfection. Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder Bloodline, Transcendence, Progress, 11%. Saber World, Perfection. Lin Fei's Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder Bloodline had already reached the level of Transcendence. Furthermore, there was still room for improvement. He only needed enough Heavenly Thunder. By Lin Fei's estimation, it would take about a month for his Supreme Yun Heavenly Thunder Bloodline to reach perfection. However, Lin Fei could no longer seclude himself for cultivation. The 2-month period was almost up. He had to escort the 11 martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect to the Tuyuan secret realm. If they missed this opportunity, they would have to wait almost another 100 years, as the Tuyuan secret realm only opened once every century. It's time to come out of seclusion, Lin Fei thought. He got up and left his chamber. Lin Fei was in no rush to cultivate his Supreme Yum Heavenly Thunder bloodline. After all, he had a lifespan of 10,000 years, plenty of time. Even if he were to delay a bit, it wouldn't matter much. Soon, Lin Fei summoned the sect master of the ancient origin sect and others, totaling about 11 martial sovereigns, which basically represented all the martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect. Greetings, Martial King. Greetings, esteemed elder. The 11 martial sovereigns all paid their respects to Lin Fei. Now, Lin Fei held the title of esteemed elder in the ancient origin sect, and he was also known as Martial King. Additionally, he was the ancient origin Saber King. Thus, he had various titles, and even the sect master of the ancient origin sect would salute him. Are you all prepared? Lin Fei asked. All 11 martial sovereigns of the ancient origin sect were aware that they were heading to the Tuyuan secret realm. They collectively replied, "We are ready." I'm not exactly sure what the Tuyuan secret realm entails, Lin Fei confessed. We'll figure it out when we get there. However, when you're there, don't be afraid to cause a stir. If there's an opportunity to enhance your strength, seize it without hesitation. If anything happens, I'll have your back. Everyone felt reassured, their faces breaking into smiles. With Lin Fei, the ancient origin Saber King, by their side, they felt completely at ease. Thank you, esteemed elder. All right, let's move out. Without further ado, Lin Fei activated his Saber World, immediately drawing the 11 martial sovereigns into it. This Saber World, which was a realm of its own, could even be considered a secret realm. To draw a few martial sovereigns into it was no issue at all. After securing the 11 martial sovereigns inside the Saber World, Lin Fei transformed into a streak of light, vanishing into the horizon.